Hi, welcome to Pinkboard. Today we are going to see the summary of Discovering Tut, the saga continues, which is written by A.R. Williams. So, in this lesson, we are going to see about the mummy of King Tut. So, in Egypt, the king is called as Pharaoh. So, we know very well that there are more mummies in Egypt, and how this mummification is done. Let's see that first. So, what is mummification? When a person is dead, they will insert a hook through their nose and they will take the brain out, and then they will make a cut over the tummy. Tummy is nothing but the stomach, and they will try to remove all the organs out, and all the removed organs will be dried up, and after it gets dried up, it will be placed in different jars, and that is what is given here as canopic jars. And they have some rituals or customs in placing it on a correct jar. And what happens is, after drying the heart alone will be placed back inside that skeleton, and then they will wash it with wine and spice, and then they will cover the corpse for 70 days with salt, and after it will be taken out and it will be stuffed with cloth and sand to give a proper shape to the body. And with the sand and the cloth, it will rest for 40 days, and after that they will wrap with a bandage from head to toe, and they will place it inside the coffin. And this is how mummies are made for all the kings and the queens, and this is done only for people of royal standards and not for common people. And I was telling about the canopic jars where the dried up organs are kept inside, and here this is how the canopic jars will be. So the jars will have a lid, and they will have some face over the lid, and one lid will be with the face of a person, and one with the face of an eagle, and one with the face of a monkey, and then one with the face of jackal. So they have the custom of placing a particular organ inside this particular jar. So here on a jar which has the lid as a person's head, they will be placing liver, and then on the eagle's face they will be keeping the intestines, and then which has the monkey's face, in it they will place the lungs, and then the jackal face jar will contain the stomach. So this is what their custom is, and this is how they used to place. And here there is a mystery which is behind the King Tut's death. So what made the people to think that there is possibility of murdering the king, that is the boy king? So here when you take this boy king, he died at the age of 15 or 16. Okay, it is given as a teenage. When he was a teenager, he died, and that is reported as a natural death. Obviously it appears for us, that is how come a teenage boy can attain a natural death. So that is what the question of most of the people who are around, and they want to know what is the mystery behind, and what made the people to think that there is possibility of murdering Tut. Okay, this is one of the reason which is behind, which is related to the history. So when you take the kings, Amenhotep III ruled the country, that is ruled Egypt for 40 years. Okay, that is given here as 4 decades. For continuously 40 years he ruled, and then uh, it is considered as the golden age because it seems to be like people were flourishing with good wealth and health, and they were offered with whatever they want. And after Amenhotep III, his son Amenhotep IV came to rule. So when he came to rule, that is considered to be the strangest period, because what he did is he disturbed the worshipping habit of the people. That is, earlier they were worshipping Amun. When he came into rule, he asked them to worship Aten. Okay, what is the meaning of Aten is the sun god, to show the people how much he has belief in that god. He changed his name as Agnaten, and he didn't stop by that. He demolished all the statues of Amun and also closed the temples of Amun, and that's why it is considered as a strangest period. So after this, a king came to rule. His name is Care, and we don't know how much time he ruled, and it is given as a brief period. So we couldn't able to find much about this king in the history. And after this, our boy king Tut came to rule. He ruled Egypt for 9 years, and when he came to rule, he brought back all the traditional customs and rituals with respect to the god. So he is the one who allowed the people to start worshipping Amun how they were doing it earlier, and he didn't stop by that. He gave permission to open the temples of Amun, and the people were so happy. And that's why when that king died, okay, people started to think that there is possibility of murdering the king, as he brought back all the old ways. And when you take the researches, okay, 3 researches has been done over this King Tut's mummy. So when you take it, it is done in different decades or different years. The first, the research has been done by Howard Carter in the year 1922. So archaeology study was to do some research over the things which are related to it, and that's how when this mummy is kept along with its riches, along with its ornaments, and the things what a person will need to live inside the tomb, okay, Howard Carter started to investigate over that. And here the mummy is placed in 3 coffins, which can be placed one inside the other, and that's what we could able to find here as a 3 nested coffin. When the first coffin is opened, we could able to find dried up leaves and flowers, which gives the evidence of when this Tut has been dead. Okay, so by those dried up leaves and flowers, we could able to guess that he would have died in the month of March or April. And here when you take the collection inside the tomb, okay, it remains to be the richest collection, richest royal collection, and what a person will need to survive in this world, each and everything is kept inside there, including food and wine. So when you take the ornaments of the king, okay, starting from his fingers, what a person can wear, everything is made up of gold. Even the razor is kept inside, which is of gold. And then when you look at all those things, you could able to see how much these people have believe in rebirth. Okay, they had the belief that a person after they attain death, they will have a next life to live in. So what are the essential items for a person to live inside this world? Everything was kept over there along with the king. And moreover, this mummification process or the tomb is kept only for people of royal standard. It is not for the common people, and they are having separate place for king and queens, and that is what is represented in the book as valley as kings and valley of queens. And after Howard Carter did in 1922, it was investigated by anatomy professor in 1968. When you take Howard Carter's research, he couldn't able to separate the mummy from the coffin, so he kept it under the sun for half a day, that is around in the middle of the day. He couldn't able to get it to be separated, so he chiseled it off. He cut the mummy to do the investigation. And here when the anatomy professor did it in 1968, what is the available technology to go for research is X-ray. He X-rayed the mummy and he reported that breastbone and front ribs are missing, and this is the reason for having a CT scan over the mummy, and that's how the CT scan has been done in 2005. So what they did is they scanned the mummy from head to toe, and they made the bones which are there into thin slices, as if the light passed inside the skeleton of 0.62 mm, and they recorded each and everything. So many specialists have gathered over there to do this investigation, that is on radiology, forensics, and also anatomy. When they were doing it, what happened is the cooler fan in the CT scanner was not working because of the sand which got inside. As soon as King Tut is disturbed from his sleeping place, what happened is we could able to sense that there is a heavy wind, and that is what we could able to find in the beginning of lesson, that there is a dust like devil which is dancing over there, and it started as soon as he was disturbed from his resting place, and the sand entered the cooler fan, and the cooler fan was not working. So the person have involved in doing this process went inside the tent which is nearby and brought the spare fans, and with that they could able to do it. And they checked all the images what they have taken, and making sure that everything they have done completely, they placed the mummy back in its place, and they made all the images to be appearing over the screen, and they found that everything is all right, nothing is wrong with this particular Tut, that is mummy. And here the god who is standing over there, okay, the man who brought the mummy from its place, thought that as the boy king is disturbed like this, okay, how come he will allow them to take or to go ahead with the process completely. So it is a curse of the Parog, they said, and so many visitors are there when Tut was disturbed from his place, and what they were believing is this will bring in some misfortune, as they are disturbing the person who is sleeping, who is taking rest. Definitely it will bring in some misfortune, they thought, and some of them started to read the guidebooks, and some of them were standing there silently as if they are worshipping, and all these gives an evidence of telling that there is a life after death, and they also have the belief that there is a god for that, that is Osiris. Osiris is god of afterlife. They believe that this god will take care of everyone after they attain death. And here, when this process was done, when the CT scan was done for Tut's mummy, we could able to find collection of stars over Tut's tomb, and people believe that it is Orion which is sent by god Osiris to make sure that nothing happens to the boy king. Okay, and here it would have been given as that Osiris is watching over the boy king according to the command of uh, Osiris. Okay, the Orion is nothing but the collection of stars which has gathered above the Tut's tomb, and by the end we could able to find that nothing went wrong, everything is okay and all right. And all these has been reported by Zahi Hawass, the Secretary General of Antique, which belongs to Egypt. And this is what the summary of Discovering Tut is. I hope this is helpful for you. Thank you.